What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait What We Talked About podcast, episode 84. My name is Bret, aka Enigma 911, and we're going solo for one more run, one more show. We're talking some more Wandavision in the finale. We're talking about the MCU in the future, and we're also going to be talking about AE Revolution thoughts and results. So yeah, it should be a fun one. Remember, guys, if you want to catch the podcast live, go over to twitch.tv/Enigma911 every other Saturday, where it's live at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the conversation if you're a sub. We'd love to have you. Always more fun and interesting when more people are chatting along with us. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. It's posted on YouTube and SoundCloud the following week, topic by topic, and as one big video and MP3 for your amusement. And last but not least, remember merch store and get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us. It would be greatly appreciated. So yes, another solo. We're talking that WandaVision finale. Oh boy. So let's get right into it. I'm excited. I thought it went really well. Really enjoyed how they kind of wrapped everything together. Similar to the past WandaVision episodes, I'm going to be kind of talking about the notes briefly that I made as I was watching the show. And then we can kind of obviously discuss afterwards what our overall thoughts were and where we think it's going to go from here. Because obviously there's some teasers / direction of where it's going to go, but obviously there's still some things up in the air of how it could be presented, if that makes sense. So yeah, very excited and exciting that it happened. Obviously, finally, this was the first episode I actually watched on that Friday because I was like, I'm not waiting for this just in case. Obviously, the internet was going to spoil it, which surprisingly enough, people don't hold back and post things almost immediately. So I was excited for that. I was a little sad. It was 49 minutes, but honestly, it worked. It didn't feel super short, and it felt like they didn't feel rushed in many ways. There was a couple areas where I thought they could have maybe fleshed things out a little bit more, which I'll talk about. But I thought the runtime worked well. We went right into the fighting, right into the combat, right into the conflict. So we went right into the Agnes or Agatha and Wanda fight. So it seems like Agatha's main thing was absorbing Wanda's power and becoming more powerful that way. And we saw kind of the effects that was taking on Wanda with the black hands, and then progressively, as we saw in the episode, like similar to the Coven we referenced last episode with the origin story, kind of taking away her life force in a way. So interesting, we're doing that. Yeah, the fight was cool. A lot of cool uses of the magic and whatnot. We had little callbacks to past MCU movies, like towards the end of the fight. Obviously, we've got the reference, or the kind of similar played out to, of Age of Ultron going into the mind, but I'm kind of skipping ahead. So let's see. I called that. So during the fight, we had a little fun reference. We saw the boots under the car that she threw into the house. A little Wizard of Oz reference. I thought that was funny. And then we had White Vision show up, and that whole reveal for Wanda, and kind of teased you with that the sympathy being shown of like, oh, I'm fine, and then just grabs her head. And I was like, oh god, you're gonna just implode her head right here. So that was kind of tense. And then obviously Spirit Vision, or whatever you want to call the good Vision, shows up, gets that all taken care of. And then it was just like, when he showed up too, I thought it was odd. He's just like cool with everything, because they haven't seen each other since that big fight. And what was it, like episode 5 or 6? Just like, oh yeah, this is fine. I don't know, I guess Darcy must have filled him in enough that he was like, there's a bigger problem here or whatever. But I just thought it was funny. He just like swoops in, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go take care of this thing, and swoops off to fight the other Vision self. So yeah, we figured out what was happening with Monica after the little teaser of episode 7 with Quicksilver. She's trapped in a house. I was wondering why, but then obviously the speedster powers makes total sense. This was one of the things I had kind of like, not a problem with, but I wish they kind of fleshed out more. I wish there was more of a fight between faux Quicksilver and Monica with the powers. Now, I understand she doesn't know her powers really all that much, and like, it's kind of just happening on its own. But that was literally like 2 minutes. Hey, you're a real dude that is working with her. Hey, the powers come through the necklace. Boop. There goes the necklace. Okay, bye. It just seemed odd. Like they couldn't have at least had like a little bit more of an altercation or fight and then the necklace thing. Yeah, I don't know. Excuse me. Interesting, they went the route of not an illusion either with the Quicksilver, how they went with a real guy who lived in the town who was out of his luck, I guess. But does confirm that we're not just kind of absorbing into the X-Men universe. It was just more of the fun, like, hey, it's the old Quicksilver from the Fox films. So I did appreciate that, just the little tongue-in-cheek aspect of it. So yeah, we got that. Let's see. There were some references or name drops that I kind of, similar to a previous episode we talked about. Jeff brought it up of what it actually was. I don't remember. Lagos, I think it was. So this one, there was a name drop of Quantico and Cliff. I don't know if those have any significance to anything, but I wrote those down. I couldn't remember exactly what they were. Going back to the Agatha and Wanda fight, Harkless was like kind of progressively getting darker throughout the fight. It seemed like she would have like the darker soles of her eyes, or like her fingers I think were actually going dark as well. So I thought that was cool how she was kind of using more of that power and kind of progressing. Apparently there's a chapter of the Death Book, or what I assume is the Death Book, about the Scarlet Witch in there and how they're forged, not born. So maybe that's kind of tying in with the Mind Stone awakening her powers, as we saw in the last episode. And then also a very important note that Agatha kind of just dropped is that the Scarlet Witch is more powerful, or exceeds the power of the Sorcerer Supreme. So that kind of is our first tie-in to Doctor Strange. He's not Sorcerer Supreme yet, I'm pretty sure, in the movies. I don't remember if they ever made that promotion to him, but obviously Tilda something, her character was the Sorcerer Supreme, and then obviously she's gone, so they need a new one. But I just thought that was like, oh, we're finally referencing that movie or that franchise, so that was cool. Harkless to mess with Wanda wakes up the rest of the town, including Dottie, and they're all like really against Wanda, which makes sense. I mean, they were essentially taken prisoner in their own town and used as puppets, so Wanda's starting to deal with that. They're trying to negotiate stories about like their kids and whatnot, and kind of re-inputted that point of like the kids were in their rooms sleeping those first couple episodes where there was no kids. So I thought that was interesting. Talked about that. Let's see. So along the same lines of the town waking up, they're sharing how like they felt her pain as well. So I was wondering if maybe that was a reason like why they were crying in previous episodes when Vision has woken them up, like the coworker with the email. I think there was another one too. Wasn't it? It was the woman setting up like her Halloween decoration. She had the one tear coming down. So I was wondering if there was like that sadness was because, hey, we're being controlled, or if it was the pain that was being shared from Wanda. Stress choking everybody out because she was stressed. That was not good. So yes. So as she does this, she kind of Wanda comes to the realization like, I'm doing something wrong here with keeping these people in. So she decides to break the bubble around. And as this was happening, I was like, oh God, is this going to get rid of Vision fighting white Vision? And then that's going to be a whole nother issue, which it did. And she recognized it and she stopped it. But unfortunately, this allowed the military to roll in. So, what's his butt? Hayward is in there now, along with backup. So she's going to kind of choose between Westview and the family. Also, the kids started falling apart. So Jeff Ha ha ha, in your face. I know you're not watching right now, but when you do, in your face. The kids were fake the whole time. Did call that. It is sad, and it gets more sadder later, but called that. So yeah, I made a note of Hayward making it in, but I said, shit, Wu didn't make it in, or his backup that he called, so that's unfortunately. So the boys were going to fight, which was cool, so we get to see them a little bit more of their powers. I know we got hints of it at the Halloween episode. But we have that. Then we go back to the Vision versus Vision fight. So they've been doing their thing. Density versus density. Blah, blah, blah. Blast out of the head. Looks cool. It was very cool to kind of see this mirror match go down. But then we kind of get into this building, and Spirit Vision, Wanda's Vision, kind of realizes he's got to take a different approach with it, and he kind of took like the iRobot route with it, with like the robot rules, like, hey, how are you going to follow your directive if you're the thing you need to destroy? So we get that conversation going on. I like the strategy of it. Maybe that fight could have gone on a little longer. That's kind of picking at threads here, but we got that. So anyways, Vision's talking down other Vision, White Vision. Let's see. So now we go back to the kids. They're fighting. We got Speed. Is it just Speed? Yeah, I think it's Speed. Just running around taking all the guns away from the military. Here comes Hayward. Shoots at the kids because he's a piece of shit. Photon runs in, and she like absorbs the bullets and like slows them down, which was interesting. Cool moment for her. Once again, she's not really controlling it, so it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how she develops these powers, because everything kind of else has happened automatically, default-wise. I don't know. So we got that. So that was cool. A little moment between them. So yeah, Hayward's going to be taken care of and go to jail because he's shooting at kids. Darcy showing up at the nick of time too, so Hayward couldn't get away, which was great. So the Visions were talking. I kind of made a note. I was wondering as they were going on if they were going to fuse like Dragon Ball Z almost, of the memories of Vision and the real Vision, or sorry, White Vision, which we kind of got. They didn't fuse per se, but he kind of transferred the memories, it seemed, almost like a copy paste over to White Vision. So in a way, Vision is now resurrected, which is interesting. Cool to see. I think this is our first MCU resurrection, if I'm not mistaken, of like somebody coming back to life. Technically, like not in the same moment. Like there might have been a moment where like somebody got like CPR. Iron Man might have gotten like his chest batterized. I don't know how to say it, but I think this is our first actual resurrection. So that was cool to see. It's going to be interesting going forward, especially with how that fight goes. White Vision, seeing these memories, kind of just flies off and seems to be, I don't know if he's like fighting with himself mentally as well now, or he was just super scared being woken up to all this, but now he's back and he's alive without the Mind Stone, which is interesting. So I wonder how officially that works, if they're ever going to explain that. I don't know. Also, is he going to get a paint job, or is he just going to be White Vision forever? But well, I guess we'll see from there. So as I mentioned earlier, now Wanda and Agatha are still fighting. I talked about the reference to Age of Ultron, with Wanda kind of doing that little zoom up behind her to go into her brain, into her psyche. And holy shit, it was dark in this scene. I don't know if you guys could see anything, but I couldn't see shit. So dark, you couldn't see like anything going on around. I'm like, bro, I didn't turn up my brightness, so I might have missed something in this scene, but it was really dark. So yeah, we're in the brain, or the memories of Agatha. It was kind of cool callback. Somehow the memory starts turning, and now the witches on the outside notice Wanda, and they're turning on her. That was kind of creepy. We do see the crown on Wanda as well, the little astral projection again, which was neat. Um, so, where am I off here? We got the thing about Agatha saying once a spell is cast, it can never be changed. I'm not sure if that was just a power move or whatever it was. But then we got the realization that Wanda has actually been putting the runes up during that final fight, and she has absorbed Agatha's powers, which I don't know if it's a good thing or if that could be more problematic, because we already know she can't control the hex magic, chaos magic, so how is it going to be with both of them? I also made a little note here of like, when did we learn ruins? When did we learn how to do those? I know we got it in the little basement cave, like the rules of it, but like, how does Wanda know it? So that was just a little weird part. We got the full costume reveal finally. Looks dope as hell. That was very cool. I made a note here. Is she the villain? Because she's absorbing all this dark magic. Is she the villain? Just made a note of that early on. Agatha also mentioned she doesn't know what she's done by absorbing it. So there's that. Agatha loses. She's now stuck in Westview as her caricature, I guess you could say. So that's taken care of. Nice they didn't kill her off. I don't know if they'll ever bring her back. Excuse me, probably not, but nice to know that the potential is still there because she was a cool villain to deal with. If she does get brought back, I wonder, like with obviously Wanda absorbing her powers or her magic, would she be able to come back? Would that be just like a relearning thing, or I don't know. That's why I think probably not coming back, because that's a whole nother complicated issue, but we'll see. After this fight concluded, I made a note of maybe she's going to go to Doctor Strange to learn these powers, because we know Wanda is in the Doctor Strange multiverse movie, so I was wondering about that. So we get the tying of the knots at the end. Nice little finish. Monica and Scarlet are talking. Everybody of the town's kind of still pissed at Wanda, which isn't super great. So she's going to zoom off. But it seems like she doesn't realize that she did something to Monica at all. Like the power-wise, like affected her. So that's interesting how we didn't even like acknowledge that, I guess. So yeah, as we were kind of leading up to the finish with the bubble absorbing, I was curious if she was going to keep the house in just the bubble, so her family was there. But then I was like, I don't know if that's really a good idea. Like, obviously she's very connected to Vision, that she's projected out, and the kids. Would it be smart to live this double life in the bubble, out the bubble? Like, that seems really probably a bad decision overall. So I said, prep the waterworks, which indeed it got very sad. We said bye to the kids. We got Vision and her saying their goodbyes. I was curious as to why Vision didn't tell her what happened with White Vision of the transferring of the memories. Why not say, hey, like they kind of hint at it a little bit with like, we'll say hello again kind of thing, but why didn't he just be like, hey, I'm out there, we'll find each other? Like, bro, you're just leaving her in this mystery thinking you're dying again. Like, I don't know. So that's going to be a whole nother thing if and when they finally do reunite, come back together. Like, how is she going to react to that? But I was just like, why why are you not just saying this? So yeah, she's back to being hated, similar to other movies that she's been in. She's kind of been this outlier. Like, yes, she is a hero, but she causes problems, like we saw once again in Age of Ultron with Sokovia blowing up. Or, sorry, it wasn't Age of Ultron. It was Civil War with that opening scene with Crossbones, how she threw the bomb up, unfortunately, at like an embassy building or something like that. So she's kind of got this chip on her shoulder, which is unfortunate again. So yeah, I thought it was good overall. I thought it tied everything nice and neatly together. I really only had those two kind of things about it, but I thought it was good overall. I'm interested to see how they bring back New Vision once again, and Wanda's eventual learning of him being alive, essentially, with the memories and whatnot. We got the 2 post-credit scenes now. So, we got an interesting one. We got first Monica's scene. Jimmy and Monica getting back reunited. Hey, good mission. Darcy's just gone, apparently going somewhere. Hayward's arrested. And then we get a random lady being like, hey, Monica, we need you in the theater. Why the theater of all places? And like no question mark from Monica, like, oh yeah, that's fine. So we get that, and we get a scroll. So it seems like they were either hinting at Miss Marvel 2 with that, and how that's going to go into space and then go see Fury, I'm assuming, in the scrolls, or if it's going to go with Secret Invasion, like we talked about, how that's kind of Nick Fury's Disney Plus series, explaining that. So we got that little fun teaser for that. So Monica's going to be continuing her story, and then we got our second post-credits, the really big one. So we got a very scenic environment with a cottage. We got Wanda hanging out making tea. And then we round the corner into this room, and she's in full costume, and she has the Book of Death, or whatever the fuck book this is, and she's just zipping through it. Once again, is she the villain? Everything is pointing to it. As she's reading this book, you can hear the kids, Wiccan and Speed, crying out for mom in the background. So apparently, like, obviously it's still in her mind, in her psyche, bothering her. Is she going to try and bring the kids back? Is she, like, this seems like such a big issue of, like, you are not better like I thought you should be at this point. Like, yeah, there's a lot of sad stuff that happened, but it seemed like she had grown in this episode to kind of accept it and move forward. But now she's looking through this book, and obviously we hear the kids in that scene. It is not looking good. So I have a feeling, because I was thinking maybe when we zoomed in on the cottage, like it was going to show Doctor Strange and they were studying together or something, but like he didn't show up at all in this series. We got the note, like I said, of the Sorcerer Supreme thing earlier. Why? I don't know if she's thought to reach out to him to teach her this stuff, because officially a witch now, so that magic line. But man, that does not bode well. So at the moment, I'm still thinking Wanda is going to be the villain in Doctor Strange Multiverse, whatever the hell. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I'm interested to hear what you guys thought of the finale. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the effects of the book and her studying kind of impacts her going forward, because yeah, that's the next movie we're going to see her in. Is she going to be fine, and then something in there triggers her, or is she going to maybe learn about multiverses from the book, and then she's got to try and go pluck them out of another universe to bring them to this one? And that's what brings the issue with Doctor Strange kind of coming in. It's a lot of questions up in the air. Similar to how we've talked with the remainder of these episodes. You get a couple of things solved, and then all these other questions kind of come up. But it was exciting. The post-credits were exciting for both. Obviously, Doctor Strange, I think, is going to happen sooner than Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel 2, which we'll talk about soon. So we'll get a little bit more resolution quicker on that, I suppose. But it's going to be interesting to see. So yeah, that's my thoughts on WandaVision and the finale. Overall, I thought the series did very well. I know early on when we talked about it, we were kind of confused about the presentation aspect of it. But as the events continued and we got more of the story elements of like what's going overall, who's pulling the strings, the conflict, stuff like that. Like it was those first 2 episodes were the incline of the roller coaster, and then it started to just go down and do all the fun stuff and the loops and whatnot. So I know early on I mentioned it to some people in my Discord, like it was very niche, it seemed. Like, you might not enjoy it if you're not really that big into Marvel, but I think once you kind of get the ball rolling, it is definitely something entertaining that you can get out of it. It's not just like the nitty gritty stuff that like, oh, you're only really gonna appreciate if you're a Marvel fan. And I mean, there's elements of it, but I think overall, as a show, there's something you can find out of it to enjoy, even if it's just like simply this one story. If you don't get the references here and there, like, yeah, you might miss out on stuff like the Quicksilver stuff, but overall, I think you could still enjoy it, which is good. I'm glad that it got the momentum there. I guess it needed, or storytelling, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but I'm glad it did that. It's going to be interesting going forward to see how the rest of the series play out on Disney Plus. Obviously, this one had the interesting element of the mystery-esque type stuff. So, like, I think it has more intrigue there with the mystery element, and the rest at the moment doesn't seem like that. Maybe Loki's will be that way, but I think Falcon and Winter Soldier would maybe be a little bit more straightforward. That might be more action-orientated. So it's going to be interesting to see how compelling of a series they are from here on out. Let's see, Mary Bear says, I was wondering why Agatha's fingers were black-tipped and why her face was very hollow with bad. I was assuming it was just her using more of her powers. Like, obviously we saw Wanda's hands go dark as well, but that was from her magic getting absorbed throughout the fight. So I was just assuming it was that dark magic that she had kind of going. I mean, even when the episodes were colorized and we kind of progressed that way, you could see Agatha kind of getting more darker. Like, her hair got darker as we progressed, and even a little gray. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but it might be her just using more of her magic in the moment there. Yeah, that would be my best guess as to why that happened. And then obviously towards the end of the fight with her powers getting taken away, like, that was the result in that appearance. But that was my thought towards that. But yeah, good show. Good times. Like I said, I'm interested to hear what you guys thought of it overall. So yeah, let me know. I'm always down to talk more of it. And like I said, hopefully going forward, the rest of the series can keep up the momentum and quality, which I assume they can. I mean, it's Disney, and you know, they're doing pretty well so far with their Disney Plus shows. I mean, we talked about Mandalorian in the past, how that's very good and accessible to non-Star Wars fans, or at least has the element of like entertainment. And then this one obviously has done well too. So I don't know, Marvel hasn't had a lot of misses, so hopefully they can keep this momentum going for themselves and keep up that storytelling.